Coverage of the 2018 Commonwealth Games. Brought to you by Manx Radio and Manx Telecom.
And a very good Monday morning to you if you're just waking up in the Isle of Man. Good evening here from Australia, broadcasting this evening from the Gold Coast Hockey Centre. Welcome to Today at the Games with myself, Chris Cave, and also Joe Pack, who I hope is cooling down somewhere because it's been a rather hot day here in Australia today.
It certainly has. I am back in the media centre on Broadbeach here in the Gold Coast, Chris, and it has been a really sunny day. Have you put your sunblock on?
Oh, I have, yes. I've been reapplying. I've been very sensible today, keeping hydrated. But as the sporting action is hotting up, so is the weather. And that's a familiar theme I think you'll find from a number of the athletes who have to compete outdoors in this. As I say, I'm at the Gold Coast Hockey Centre this evening, but let's cover a sport which we haven't covered in too much detail since the Games began, simply because there hasn't been a great deal of action in the cycling. But yesterday, if you remember, if you were listening, I was at the Velodrome where two island cyclists, Matthew Draper and Matthew Bostock, were competing in the men's 40-kilometre points race. They competed in a heat at around about 5:45 here in Australia in the evening. Unfortunately, it ended in disappointment for Matthew Draper. I spoke to him when he came off the track.
I was gutted, so gutted. I knew that was going to be a tough qualifier because I like the hardest heat of the two. You know, I got caught out with like 20-15 laps to go. I was just like, I was actually on the limit. Like, if you watch it, you'd have seen me just go off the back. I was just clawing it back, praying they sit up. And then I got back on about 8 or 9 to go, and I got off the front one of the Canadians. I looked up a lap, but it was like 3 to go. I came around out of turn 2, and I just thought it's going to be now or never to get any points to qualify. And so I just had to go and just went up over the blue. I just actually nailed it. But you know, to come that close to qualifying for the final, there's only 2 points in it.
Well, that was Matthew Draper, who failed to qualify for the final of the men's 4 last night. One person who did qualify for Team Isle of Man was Matthew Bostock. It's worth actually mentioning that Matthew Draper has limited experience on the track around the Velodrome, and he missed out by, I would say, half a wheel in the final sprint of the first heat. But Matthew Bostock did make it to the final. He claimed 7 points in that heat to qualify for the final, and it started very, very well for Matthew Bostock in the final. He scored 3 points in the opening of 16 sprints, the first of 16 sprints. He got 3 points, and I think people started to believe, maybe a bit prematurely, that was mainly coming from myself, I think, but that was the end of Matthew Bostock's scoring. He failed to score a point then on afterwards and finished in 14th place, and he was a little disappointed when he came off.
To be honest, I can't feel him at all. Incredibly hard, that's all I can say really.
That's your physicality. What about your mental state? It's very daunting coming into a velodrome with atmosphere as electric as it has been tonight.
The atmosphere doesn't play a massive part really, because you're racing who you're racing. It don't matter who's in the crowd, how many people are there. It doesn't really change anything.
I saw you as you were cooling down there, just your head in your hands. Was that just exhaustion coming out of you, or had a few words been said to you from Graham Hatcher?
Exhaustion and just a bit of emotion really. I've had a tough few months, and it's nice to be here, but it's just disappointing. Competitive side in me wants to be at the pointy end, and I didn't quite have that condition, so I had quite a hard time, and I just wanted a minute to reflect and let it all sink in really.
At 20 years old, a fantastic experience for you to build on. What was your game plan heading into the final?
I wanted to play it canny really. I didn't have any teammates, and there's a lot of strong nations here with 3 riders in each, so it was always going to be hard to race against the numbers, and I just wanted to use my head and try and follow the right people, but Yeah, it wasn't easy.
How much would you have benefited had Matthew Draper also made it into the final?
Would have been handy, but I think the strength of the other nations would have still been a bit hard to beat.
And 3 points puts you in 15th position. Are you pleased with that overall and your performance here at the 2018 Commonwealth Games on the track?
Not really, to be honest. I've wanted to do this for a few years now, and I wanted to medal, but the last few months haven't been ideal. But from where I've come from, I'm just glad to be here, really.
So a somewhat disconsolate Matthew Bostock there, finishing 14th in the final of the 40-kilometre points race at the Velodrome. He mentioned there he did have a tough couple of months. An injury has limited his practice, his preparation and his build-up to the Games. I think they were all eyeing a top 10 finish there at the Velodrome last night, but it didn't quite come off. But as I say, that limited preparation possibly did take its toll. And Joe, you've caught up with Graham Hatcher, who was mentioned in that interview there this afternoon, to find out how he's been feeling.
Yeah, absolutely. Whilst we were talking to the Isle of Man cycling team today ahead of tomorrow's time trial, I did speak to team manager Graham Hatcher about his thoughts about Matthew Bostock's performance.
It's limited his racing. It's an injury, but it's a niggle. He's been training. Probably not the top end stuff he needs for the track. And I think Matthew said he hesitated. He had the legs on the scratch race. He just hesitated. It's probably that just craft from racing that he's probably lost down. So for physically he was there, but just that belief in himself, ready to go with that move, and he could have done. So it could have been a little bit higher than when we finished.
Matthew Draper, I've been having a little look on his social media, and he seems quite flat. How is he?
He's okay. I suppose he's coming out of that bubble now, really. You build up to the Games for so long, and it ends. So yeah, I think he's disappointed, but I think we've sort of spoken to him about that, and you've got to look at the competition he's up against. He's a guy who works back in the Isle of Man, and he was up against the very, very best, multiple world champions in there, and he's been a total credit to his performances.
How do they work towards the velodrome and doing what they do? Because it's not like we have a velodrome in the Isle of Man that they can pop around to and just practice.
No, that's a real limit. Matthew Bostock's fortunate with the British Cycling GB programme, so he's on the track a lot more. And Matthew Draper struggled really. He's done a little bit of racing sort of after Christmas, and then he joined up with a development squad in Wales, did some training with them. So he's had a little bit of time, and then it's really track time when we come here. But it is difficult. Once you come here, you're really polishing what you've got. So he's had limited opportunities, but yeah, we are where we are. They've both done a cracking job and done the Ireland proud. And
you've really now got into work with your team manager job, as obviously you've been in the velodrome for the last couple of days, and now you're looking at the time trial and the road race. Just how are you enjoying being out in Australia with the team? It's great. It's been really good. The sort of camaraderie in the team is fantastic. It's nice to be back with the full team now, really. We've been sort of long hours, and with the drive up to Brisbane for the velodrome, and plus it's nice to get out in the sunshine now. Isle of Man cycling team manager Graham Hatcher. And Chris, I believe you've been catching up with Sam Brand.
Yes, from the track to the road, as you mentioned there, and Sam Brand is one of those road cycling competitors for Team Isle of Man, and he's got some rather unique trainers. I spoke to him earlier.
He obviously representing the Isle of Man, and it's a really proud moment for me, but I don't want to forget that I ride for Team Novo Nordisk, and we're there to inspire, educate and empower those affected by diabetes. So I decided that it'd be a good idea to show that why I'm doing what I do. It's a really big deal to me that when I'm out riding my bike, I'm there to represent everyone around the world affected by diabetes. So myself and the team ran a competition for 50 winners to have their names put on my shoes, and I got them at the start of the week, and I'm in love with them. They're fantastic, and it's great to be able to just carry those 50 names. It's more than the 50 names, it's a platform to show that what we can do with diabetes. So the platform's there for more than the 50 people. It's just a beacon to show that that's why we're here, and that's why I do what I do.
So here representing the Isle of Man, but this is very much a global effort because these are names of people from all across the world.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think we had over 1,000 entries from over 15 different countries. So yeah, it's a mega effort. It brings a smile to my face that people want to be part of it, part of the movement, and I can ride for them and ride for everyone around the world affected by diabetes.
Could you just go through some of the countries whose people have made it onto these shoes?
Yeah, specifically, I'm not sure. I mean, we had a massive entry from the Isle of Man in the UK. I'm sure there was people from the United States. I saw Australians with their names, New Zealanders. So, I mean, I saw the list of the whole. I can't remember everyone, but there was just so many different like nationalities. I think we had Eastern Europeans, there was South Americans. So yeah, so it's gone really far.
Another very, very hot day here in Australia. Just take us through what you're doing today. I assume you're assessing the track, doing your homework so you're in the best possible shape for tomorrow's race.
Yeah, they did a closed road recce, so it meant that we could see the racing line on the wrong side of the road. So it was really good. We got to ride around, but they did 2 laps, but we decided to only do 1. It's really warm, so more time in the sun is bad. So we decided get 1 done, take it all in, and then we can get back and get washed and changed and just relax for tomorrow.
And just give us your brief assessment of this course. What's it like for those at home?
It's tough. I mean, when we got the profile, everyone said so-so, but coming here, there's quite a steep ascent in it. I mean, it's about 1 kilometre long and probably mid 20%, so it's pretty steep at points, and it's not going to be the easiest course, but that's good. It's a test event. It's be able to see what your legs are doing and hopefully get ready for the road race on Saturday.
Well, you can see those trainers by checking out the Manx Radio social media, the Facebook and Twitter pages, and also exclusive video content on the Manx Radio portal. Neil Diamond's just come on the tannoy here, so I'm going to go for a sing-song and we'll be back after this short break.
Coverage of the 2018 Commonwealth Games, brought to you by Manx Radio and Manx Telecom.
We're talking swimming now. It was a tough swim for Laura Kinley in last night's semi-final after a strong heat earlier in the day where Laura broke the island record and smashed her PB for the first time in 3 years. I chatted to Laura after her race.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I was really pleased with my swim this morning. Not only was it my first PB in that event in 3 years, but it was also the first time I managed to go under a 1:10. And I've been chasing that time for quite a while now. So, I mean, there's no better place really than to do it here. So, yeah, I'm really pleased with how it went.
What is that moment like when you pop your head up from underneath the water and you look at the, obviously the timings and you go, under 1:10, what does it feel like to get a 1:09 then?
Yeah, I was over the moon to begin with. I don't know whether I quite believed it or not, but yeah, I was really pleased. I managed to do it, and also that it was good enough to make the semi-final. Yeah, so I couldn't come at a better time either.
Bit hyped up perhaps from doing that, and then had to get your head down and into gear to go into the semi-final. Was that tough?
Yeah, I was on such a high buzz this morning. But I just tried to relax this afternoon and get my head back ready to come back tonight and see what I could do.
So how do you feel tonight went? You got a time of 1:10.93, so we'll just keep thinking about the time that you did this morning. Obviously, you were saying to me when you came out the swimming pool, it was a little bit more difficult, a bit more challenging.
Yeah, tonight I felt a lot tougher. I'm not sure whether it was I need a bit more rest from this morning, but to walk out in front of the crowd of 10,000 people was just incredible. And yeah, it's such an amazing experience to be in front of this many people competing, and it's also nice to see so many Manx flags and Isle of Man supporters here, and it's lovely, yeah.
I did want to ask you, what does that feel like? What is going through your mind when you are walking down, getting yourself ready and going into the swimming pool in front of this huge crowd?
Yeah, it's quite overwhelming really. It's the biggest crowd I've ever competed in front of before, but it's so incredible to represent the Isle of Man.
One of our superstar swimmers, Laura Kinley. And we're still going to stay on swimming because we've got some great news for you about Charlotte Atkinson, haven't we, Chris?
We have got some great news for you indeed. She's into the women's 200-metre butterfly final, which will take place this evening. She qualified with a time of 2 minutes 9.05 seconds. That placed her second in the heat, so she is now in this evening's final, where she'll be up against, among other people, Australian Brianna Throssell, who's proved a permanent thorn in her side throughout the swimming so far in the Commonwealth Games. She qualified 0.02 seconds quicker than Charlotte Atkinson in the heat, so we'll have to wait and see how this one plays out. But let's hope for Charlotte Atkinson, for the whole of the Isle of Man, that she's in fine spirits this evening, and she goes and gets the Isle of Man our first medal. But Jo, you've been speaking to some of the locals.
I have, but just make sure that you tune into BBC's sport coverage of that on 12:28 p.m. UK time for Charlotte Swim. Yes, last September the Queen's baton arrived on the Isle of Man, and with it a whole media team. Whilst working away in the media centre last night, I got this little tap on my shoulder from Kate, who I met on the island with the baton. We had a chat about what she specifically remembers about the Isle of Man after visiting so many countries over the last 18 months.
Many things. I remember actually very vividly coming down the promenade with the Queen's baton. I think we're coming down on a tram, a horse-drawn tram. The sun was shining. It was an absolutely beautiful afternoon, or maybe it was the morning, but the sun was shining. And I remember going down and people just waving, people just being so excited that we were in town. The Queen's baton was there, and I think maybe not moments, but definitely the people of the Isle of Man really stood out for me. I also remember we had an amazing afternoon down with a few, I believe it was like 5 charities that we had. They were all involved, and we had some members from Paralympics, but also Special Olympics as well there. And just getting them involved was fantastic. The games here are the biggest integrated sports program that we have. So to get those people involved, especially those who might not have those opportunities elsewhere, was great. And just to bring that smile to those faces. And I think, yeah, there's many, many things. We're only there for a couple of days in Isle of Man, but I know that it definitely left a big impression on the Queen's baton relay.
So the opening ceremony, when the baton was handed over and it was almost like the last thing for you, did you feel quite emotional?
I did. So the whole team, we had a few that went to the opening ceremony to assist in the, I guess, the end delivery of the relay. But the majority of us were elsewhere. We were all perched up watching the opening ceremony at a restaurant on the big screen, so we could all...
Avoiding the rain.
Avoiding the rain. So yeah, we're undercover. We're all together. We're all arm in arm. Yeah, it was emotional. It was emotional after such a long time and a long build up and a long journey for a lot of people in the team. But it was great to be with everybody for that. I couldn't picture myself being anywhere else watching that moment when Sally Pearson brought the baton up to Prince Charles and he read the message. It was the end. It was the end of an era, but the beginning of the game. So yeah, it was good.
Goosebumps. Clive McGrill, talking about bowls, was in the singles heats this morning, playing against Canada's Ryan Bester. The final score was Canada 21, Isle of Man 8. Clive is back in action later today, playing Papua New Guinea Matu Bazo. Really hope I've got that name right. And I'll be bringing you an update on that as I'm actually there this evening. And that will be on the video daily update that we're doing on Manx Radio's Facebook and also Manx Radio's Portal 2. Chris, what are you going to be up to?
Well, thanks, Jo. I'll be at the swimming final and hopefully seeing the island win our first medal of the Gold Coast Games in 2018, contesting in the women's 200-metre butterfly, as we said. And she qualified with a time of 2 minutes 9.05 seconds. So she's in fine form. She's qualified for several finals, only just missing out in a few of them, and she said the 100-metre breaststroke that it wasn't even her main event. So hopefully pray in the Isle of Man that she does the business in the final this evening. And what a way to start a week if the Isle of Man can win a medal at the Commonwealth Games here on Australia's Gold Coast. And we'll bring you all the updates as we get them, but let's head to the headlines at 8:30.